Unfortunately, to start off the Sports PSP pod, we have a lot to talk about regarding, in all seriousness, Shiron Moore. For those who may not know, that was the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. He was fired a couple of days after the athletic director, Ward Manuel, announced that he engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member, which is a violation of the school policy. And the school has a zero tolerance for that. It was reported by Pete Thamel, ESPN's Adam Schefter. Later in the reports, Shiron Moore, to make matters worse, the person that he had an affair with, for those who also may not know, Shiron Moore is married and has children. Not only that, to make matters worse, Shiron Moore allegedly, according to the reports, tried to unalive the staffer that he was involved with by invading into her home and also unaliving himself. Fortunately, the church that he goes to prevented that. He was arrested. He's been released on bail, I think, for $25,000. He was in protective custody. He's facing up to 3 charges: home invasion on the third degree. I can't remember the other 2 charges. Hopefully, Champ BRF can help me explain it to me.
Burglary,
Burglary,
home invasion, burglary, and I think breaking and entering,
breaking and
Breaking and
entering,
entering.
and
and faces up
reckless
to
and
a
I think they're throwing in reckless endangerment as well.
yes, which carries up to 6 years in prison and more than $3,000 in fines. I know we talked about this last night on the Undisputed Go podcast. Shout out to BRF and Champ. Unfortunately, Flash was not there, but always love to hear what Flash has to say. Shout out to the great Flash, just like BRF, as a girl dad, as always. Fellas, I'm gonna keep it real simple. If the reports are true, again, it's allegedly because it's still ongoing. Shiron Moore fucked up. You had a dream job coaching for the Michigan Wolverines. You took over for Jim Harbaugh after the controversies they were in. You know, as you mentioned, Champ, Jim Harbaugh, with a student paid for a cheeseburger. That was one of the scandals. Although to me, that's really nothing. I mean that's petty.
Yeah,
This right here, he fucked up. First of all, he fucked up his family, his wife and his 3 daughters. And then, according to the reports, the inappropriate relationship he engaged with the staffer, correct me if I'm wrong, Champ, didn't he pay for her to have an abortion?
yes, and then
Yes.
after that, doubled her salary. So yeah, I mean, you talk about an admission of guilt. That's pretty much what it is.
That's about as clear as a crystal piece of glass. He fucked up. I mean, when I heard the reports, it couldn't be because of his record. Because if you look at his record, the first 2 seasons, 8-5, the first year, beat Ohio State at Ohio State, and then the second year, 9-3. So it couldn't be because of his record. It had to be because what he did. Now, again, it's no surprise with Shiron Moore because his name hasn't been involved. This is not the first time his name hasn't been involved in controversy. But I think because of what they heard, Michigan, regarding the athletic director and everyone else regarding the school, they just had the final straw. They had enough.
Yeah,
For them, that was like the final straw. And the evidence, according to the athletic director, they said it's credible against um Shiron Moore. I feel sorry for first and foremost his wife and his 3 kids. Because how are they looking at their father, their husband, the same? How are they doing that? It's gonna take them some time for them to process all this because their father, husband, allegedly committed adultery. Not only that, their father and husband allegedly tried to unalive the staffer as well as unaliving himself. Now he's facing charges and he could serve time behind bars. So, how does the family deal with all of this? Shiron Moore has nobody to blame but himself. As you always say to me, big fella, 1,000 attaboys is always erased by all one shit. There's more than all one shit. Several. And I feel sorry for his family in terms of how they processing all of this. The staffer that he's involved with, allegedly, how is she gonna have to deal with this for the rest of her life? Because she's embarrassed with this type of situation. As for the university, you mentioned it, champ. Scandal, you. Several scandals before. I mean, with Jim Harbaugh, with the hand signals, Chris Webber, Juwan Howard. He had to pay a fine over, was it over $40,000 for knocking out someone?
Yeah, Jawan Howard, he had to pay a fine for striking a striking a staffer. Not to mention, that's not the only controversy that happened. If you read up on a comment that one of the hockey coaches had made to one of his
Yeah,
players,
as you
yeah,
mentioned yesterday.
yeah, he made a
And
very, very derogatory comment to one. So this is just the past 2-3 years. And so
yeah,
it's just been scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal at the
at
University of
Michigan.
Michigan.
And historically, Michigan is no stranger to controversy. I hate that it had to be like this for Sharon Moore, but he has no one to blame but himself. As you always say, champ, just because it looks good, that don't mean he should do it.
Yeah,
And look at the price that he's paying. I don't know how he's going to continue on being a husband and a father to his kids. It's really sad because they have to deal with this. And if the father has to serve jail time, how are the daughters? How are they feeling to see their father behind bars? And they're asking, when's daddy going to come back? And as for the wife, what is she going to do? Is she going to file for divorce? Is she going to move on to somebody else? Because at the end of the day, and if you're looking at Sharon Moore, you are making millions of dollars. You're coaching a powerhouse school in Michigan. I also feel sorry for the young men, and now they've been hit with a 15-day notice. They can
yeah,
enter the transfer portal. They don't have to stay there. They can just move on. I also feel bad for, I mean, even though Michigan has got to get their act together in terms of who they want to have as far as the right culture. Can they get past this, champ? My thing is, look, if Penn State can move on after what happened with Jerry Sandusky and Joe Paterno, my thing is yes. But it's going to have to be a minute. As for Sharon Moore, can he be able to redeem himself? I don't know, but he's going to have to pay a price, a huge one, it appears. And if it has to include jail time, hate to say it, but so be it. He effed up his college football coaching career. I don't know. There ain't no way in hell, in the words of Vince McMahon, ain't no chance in hell he getting a head coaching job anytime soon. Definitely not in college football. After he serves his time, after if he may have to serve his time behind bars, maybe who knows? An HBCU, as you mentioned, champ, maybe could possibly give him a chance to redeem himself, or he may have to go to high school football to be a
yeah.
coach. So it's going to be hard for Shiron Moore to get an opportunity later down the road to become a head coach, given this predicament he's been involved in.
Hmm.
It's no surprise with college football coaches being involved in these types of controversies. I mean, after all, we've heard Bobby Petrino,
Not just him. Rick, remember Rick Pitino had got into,
Rick
uh,
Pitino. Yeah,
yeah,
we
Rick
I know.
Pitino had got into an incident. I mean, you remember Mel Tucker last year? You know, he had got fired, cost himself a $95 million contract because of
Let,
uh,
let,
s- the harassment allegations. I'm trying to
let,
keep it clean. The
let's
harassment allegations. That's the reason why I'm stuttering. So
let's
my
not
bad
forget
about the stuttering part.
let's not forget Les Miles, champ. Remember the
Y-
controversy Les Miles was in during
yeah.
his time in LSU?
And I think I sent you this article of all people, a reporter that we don't particularly care for. He came out with this, and you know, and I'm going to go back to that page real quick. And he brought up all the controversies because but remember Hugh Freeze with the using the school credit card in order to solicit things. You know, it's been a lot, but on that magnitude, you going to someone's house and
Threatening to
you
unalive
threatening
not
to
only her,
unalive
but
yourself.
also in himself.
Yeah. So here's the scandals that have rocked uh as far as scandals. You had the Rick Pitino scandal in 2009. You had the Bobby Petrino scandal in 2012. Then you had, of course, you know, the Deshaun Watson scandal. Then you had the Ime Udoka scandal in Boston, fresh off a finals appearance. And remember, let's not forget not too long ago, because it seems like we have forgotten, the Shannon Sharp incident. So
There's been a lot of controversies. I was referring to college football, but yes, definitely sports in general. And I think the main lesson, champ, we have to send to not just young people, old people. You say in the South, you got to be more careful. As for Shiron Moore, was it really worth it? I mean, look what happened, and look what you're facing right now. It's really devastating. It's really sad. I got to be honest with you, big fella. It's a tragedy. And I hope there could be a redemption story for him, but he's going to have to face some serious consequences.
yeah,
How is he and the family going to move on from this? How is the university going to move on from this? And Michigan, I mean, as you mentioned, Scandal U historically, champ, what steps do they need to take? Because the interim head coach, Poggi, I think, will be the interim head coach for the bowl game. But after that, that's going to be it. We don't know if he's going to be the head coach. They're going to have to make a huge decision on who they want as a head coach. But this is on Shiron Moore as far as with this situation. It's just really devastating. I don't know how he'll bounce back from this. It's really sad. Again, I feel horrible for his family because again, wife, kids, they're gonna have a hard time looking at him because they feel betrayed that their father husband allegedly committed adultery. He may have to serve time behind bars,
hmm
and I hate it for his three daughters because they're gonna ask when's daddy gonna come back. So they're gonna have a hard time processing all of this and hard time learning and discovering who their father is and how he was, how he conducted himself. And as far as with the wife, it's just sad in all aspects, champ. But I have a lot more to say, but I'll let you go.
ladies and gentlemen of the jury, don't let the WAP cost you the BAG. Don't let the WAP cost you the BAG. You just cost yourself $6 million a year. You were handpicked by the head coach who won Michigan their first national championship since the great Tom Brady. You were handpicked. Now, it's easy for us to sit around and make jokes and stuff like that and try to bring light to it, but I want all of the young men, and I don't want to hear, well, what about the ladies? No, we're talking to the young men. We're
Not
talking to
just
y'all.
not just young men, champ, also old men too.
Yeah, we're talking to all the men out here. Stop letting your think with your brain, not with your feelings. Think with your mind, not with what's convenient. It's that time, guys. We've seen way too many. Look, in the past year alone, we saw some of the most greatest figures on earth as far as sports is concerned get in trouble because of sex scandals. Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, Mel Tucker, now Shiron Moore. And it went to the extreme where he is probably, maybe, hopefully he doesn't, going to end up having to serve hard time because of breaching and entering. Don't let something as it's not worth it. It's not. And don't laugh, learn from it. That's like I'm really not smiling at this point. Learn from it. Don't sit around here and let lust and your desires destroy you. And look, man, don't crap where you eat at. Don't crap where you eat at. What do I mean by that? Your job is where you eat at. That is your table. That is where you eat at. That is where you put out. That's where your groceries come from. That's what I mean. Where you eat at. Your job is how you bring in the groceries, how you put that steak and the potatoes and the vegetables on the table. That's how you put food on the tables and food in your belly.
Shout out to
All right,
casual.
casual, the subject matter expert. Um, don't do that. Don't crap where you eat at. It's that time. Learn from this. And don't even get me started about all the other innuendos and stuff like that. Well, what if a frog had a square butt and ate mud, he'd crap bricks. That's what I think about if. If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. This is the situation that happened. Can he get another chance? Yeah, he can. Will he? No, probably not. And I know that a lot of people had a lot of choice words to say about Ryan Clark and what he said about setting back black coaches, and he was absolutely right. He was absolutely right. People want to harp on him. Well, no, when you look, I'm gonna just be real. It was so bad at one point for black coaches and so hard for them to get jobs in the NC2A. Mike Tomlin couldn't even get a job at one point in the NC2A. That's how hard it is for a lot of these black coaches in order to get jobs for these Power Five schools.
And also, too, champ, for those who may not know, Sharon Moore is the first black coach in Michigan. By the way, handpicked, for those who may not know.
Yeah. And guess what? I mean, you don't get a job like that and squander it. So Ryan Clark was absolutely right in his assessment. It's gonna set a lot of other coaches back, a lot of other black coaches back. Because the path you take is not your own. You got to go in there and conduct yourself with class. You got to go in there and conduct yourself with dignity, and you got to win. You can't be around here just cutting the food. So I understand that Luther Campbell, Uncle Luke, had some choice words to say about what Ryan Clark said, but Ryan Clark was absolutely right. He was absolutely right because now you're making it harder for guys who come up behind you. If Tony Dungy, well, let's go back a little bit further. If Art Shell wouldn't have conducted himself with class and dignity and would have gotten trouble at Oakland, do you think that wouldn't Tony Dungy would have been able to come behind him? There would be no Dennis Green. There would be no Mike Tomlin. There would be no Todd Bowles. There would be no Byron Leftwich as a coach. The path you take is not your own. So Ryan Clark was absolutely right about his assessment of it will set back black coaches as far as getting big-time college football jobs. It will, because they're looking at what Shiron Moore did. and it's going to impact contracts. Like it or not, it will. So we got to stop because, and the thing is with Ryan Clark, whenever he criticizes anybody else, you don't ever hear no backlash. Everybody want to sit around here and holler amen and clap their hands and say that's a king. But the minute he said that, which is true, now everybody want to, you just an instrument for ESPN. No, he's not, because if he would have said that about Bobby Petrino, guess what? We would have clapped for it. So stop all this nonsense when somebody says something that is true. Mike Tomlin couldn't get a damn job at big time college football. He's a damn Super Bowl winner. You're handpicked. To my knowledge, he's probably one of the few black coaches in the Big Ten Conference. So, yes, it does set back black coaches. It does hinder them from having big time opportunities because of what he did. Warren Moon said it best when he became a quarterback, one of the few black quarterbacks in the league. He said, I had an obligation not just to play the game of football, but I had to play the game for my people. When Warren Moon was in the league, he couldn't afford to be seen out in public. He couldn't afford to be out here having a drink. He had to have a perfect home life. He had to conduct himself with class and dignity. Why? Because he had to worry about the guys who came up behind him, like the guy that he ended up mentoring him in order to be the first overall pick, that being Cam Newton. So the path you take is not your own. And Ron Clark was absolutely freaking correct. We got to stop when somebody says something that we don't agree with, then we want to sit around here and harp on it. Well, what you said was crazy. No, it wasn't. And the thing is, like I said it last night on the other show, the Uncensored show, these allegations were brought to light by a former quarterback of the University of Michigan. It was brought to light by him on December the 2nd of this year. So you have to ask yourself, had he not been who he was and his political stance at a certain point, would we have been paying attention to these allegations a little bit sooner? Probably so. If Ron Clark would have reported on it or something like that, Jamel Hill, one of these big time journalists that people trust, we would have paid more attention. But because of certain stances that the former
Robert
quarterback
Carey, and you're
had,
referring to, champ.
yes, Robert Karen. I didn't want to pronounce his name incorrectly. Played in Michigan back in 1975.
Yes.
So he brought these allegations to light earlier in the month. I think it was on December the 2nd, and everybody was calling him a liar. And so when he brought those allegations to light, everybody thought that he was just, trying to start something. But in fact, his words and his allegations had a lot of validity to it. So yeah, we got to stop. It's like, yes, he did. You got to stop with this nonsense. The minute there's somebody that is usually right about something, they say something we're going to agree that, oh, now he's a tool. No, he's not. He absolutely set back a lot of black coaches because guess what? It's going to be a long time before a black coach coaches
Did you
at
hear? Did
Michigan.
did you did you hear? What I sent you? Remember what Jamel Hill had to say? Remember after the show?
Yeah,
And
but
everything that Jamel Hill said was true. You asked me, did she lie?
yeah,
I said no. But as I always say, champ, it's just like BRF and champ could say. Y'all say you can't do what the white men do and keep your job. And this is the case right here with Shiron Moore. Everything Jamel Hill said was true. But Jamel Hill at the same time, for a fact, black coaches can't be doing that type of stuff and thinking they can still keep on with their job.
no,
And it's a damn shame. And for Sharon Moore, you should know better, especially the circumstances and what's up against black coaches. I understand that component, champ, because he probably may not get another head coaching job like this again. Hate to say it, but that's probably the truth. And it's real sad and it's real unfortunate that he's involved in this type of situation. Um, but go ahead, champ.
No. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I had to adjust my sound.
No, you're fine now.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
we just having some technical issues with BRF, but BRF should be back at some point. He's still having issues with the whole Riverside thing, but that's all good.
yeah, but yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, very unfortunate. But you got to learn some. Look, temptation is always there. It's your job to flee from it without getting too biblical. Resist it, and it will flee. You got millions of dollars. You got a family to take care of. If you don't think about yourself, at least think about them. The path you take is not your own. The path you take is not your own. And unfortunately, the wrong path, hey, in the great words of the Joker, all it takes is one bad day. That's all it takes, just one bad day. And unfortunately, his bad days equal was one hell of a day. It brought hell on earth just that fast because just last, and the difference that a year makes, just last year, most beloved person in Michigan beat Ohio State in their own backyard, beat them. And now we're here. We got to do a better job, guys, of letting your brain think about logic. Because the thing is this, let's just be real. When you are a coach, everybody's watching you. And like I stated, Ryan Clark was absolutely correct. Guess what? If he hadn't been doing it in the first place, then guess what? He would have set up another coach in order to get a good job. So yeah, everybody's watching you when you are a coach at that type of university. Hell, the Fab Five used to get hate mail saying a lot of derogatory things towards them. The Fab Five. So that just goes to show you what some of the alumni think of you personally at this PWI. So you have to be very, very careful. And the thing is, nobody has any look. If you don't have tea in your cup, then nobody has tea to spill. That's just the bottom line. You went there. Everybody's watching you. Everybody's watching what you do. Everybody's watching what you're doing. Unfortunately, Jamel Hill was right, but the thing is, you have to know that you're being watched when you're in that great of a position.
There you go. BRF.
It's unfortunate, and I was looking through Twitter, and I saw something that really kind of caught my eye. Since Jim Harbaugh had become the head coach again, and I saw this, Shiron Moore is the seventh off his staff to get arrested, which is crazy. It's crazy to me.
Astounding.
It is like he's had five coaches get arrested due to a DUI. He had one that was just a flat out, just in, we'll say indecency for the sake of this conversation to keep it PG a little bit. And then the situation with Sharon Moore, and yeah, the thing about him is some people were trying to say, oh well, it was some of it was performance. I'm like, this man went 9-3 and 7-2 in the Big Ten, so performance has nothing to do with this. So when I heard he got fired, I was like, what's going on? And then everything came to light, and I was just like, whoa. And it's just a baffling and just a sad situation for a guy who you could honestly point to when you look at a lot of the young up and coming coaches in the league, whether it be a Brent Key in Georgia Tech, a Kenny Dillingham in Arizona State, guys like that. Sharon Moore was right there with those guys. And the simple fact that he lost this job just out of you just not thinking, just not thinking, and not only. And I feel like the most important aspect about it isn't even the fact that he put his job in jeopardy. It's his family. It's his kid. Man's got three kids. Man got three kids.
I think we lost him.
Damn, that was crazy. He got it to mid sentences yet. You know, damn. To his point though, he does have 3 kids. So I mean, like I stated,
But 7 times a Michigan staff member has been arrested.
shit, y'all must be we gonna start calling y'all the degenerates or something. I don't know what the hell.
Bishop Sycamore ain't got nothing compared to Michigan.
Bruh, y'all, hell, everybody that got arrested, 7 members of their staff that got arrested. Damn. And man, look, leave that staff WAP alone. Leave that staff WAP alone. Go home and do what you need to do. All right. There's been way too many scandals at these. Look, there's been way too many guys that have had everything going for them, and then the second that certain stuff comes out, that's when the world comes down. We have got to stop. And like I stated, this is not a laughing matter. This is not a joke. We have got to stop. We got to stop. Because guess what, man? $6 million down the drain, uh, facing 6 years, you lost your family, and you may never coach again.
Ain't that a shame?